Welcome to part 1 of Prototyping for Windows 8, the making of RecipeLater. This is a tutorial series for Infragistics prototyping tool Indigo Studio. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create the start and splash screens and how to hook them together with an interaction. If you open up Indigo Studio, you'll find a samples panel where our RecipeLater prototype lives. Clicking on the Run button will allow us to take a look at the prototype right here within Indigo Studio. You'll see the start screen fades in. We'll refresh to see that again, but we got a nice subtle fade in. Clicking on the RecipeLater tile launches the splash screen, which animates in the application. Clicking the cupcake recipe shows the details. Again, they nicely animate. We have a charms bar with the start button that'll take us back to the start screen. So that's the basics for the prototype. If we go ahead and double click the start screen, we can begin to see how that was built. Looking at the different components, we've got an image and we have a hotspot that overlays the tile for the application. We can toggle the visibility of either of these to kind of see the way it's structured. We've set a background color, and we've also changed the screen size to 1366 by 768, which is a pretty standard tablet aspect ratio. If we go ahead and run again, we can see that we can run the screen from here. We can toggle on the hotspot areas to see where we can click. Again, we get nice animations through these different screens. This is what we're going to be building in this tutorial. Taking a look at the transitions and animations panel, we can see that we've got an opening animation sequence that adds our image over a duration of time. That's what creates that subtle fade in that we get. We can run this here to see that in action. So that's basically all that we need to do there to create that animation, and I'll show you how to do that later on in the tutorial. Clicking on the hotspot here that overlays the tile, we can see that we have a tap/clicks interaction that when the user taps or clicks onto the hotspot, we're going to navigate to our splash screen. So that's the basic interaction here. If we want to take a look at what that does, we can click on the screen name here to open up the screen. Basically, we just got a group that contains a couple icons and a title that we animate in over time. Again, that gives us our nice subtle fade in when we switch to this screen. So the basic interaction here is from the start screen, on click, we're going to navigate to the splash screen. We can see that inside of the interaction panel, basically what the interaction is going to look like. But that's the basics for this tutorial of what we're going to be building. To go ahead and get started building our prototype, let's go back to the menu and under New, make sure we're set up to do a new design for a new project, and go ahead and click Screen. This is going to create a new screen for our project. First thing we need to do is set the screen resolution for it to 1366 by 768 to match our tablet resolution. Go ahead and reposition it. You can hold down spacebar and drag. Change the background color to black to match the start screen image that we have. Alt or Option click type image. Go ahead and pick image under Actions and pick the Windows 8 home.png file that's in the assets folder that came with this tutorial. Reposition it so it's centered inside the screen and it'll fit perfectly. And if we go ahead and run the prototype right now, we'll see it just pops into view. Our prototype needs to have that nice fade in animation that we had. So if we come down to the transitions panel, we can add an opening animation, delete the segment that came with it, and just change the duration here to 0.75 seconds, as that'll be all we really need here. Clicking play, we can preview it. Clicking run, we can see the prototype. Restart, and we can see that that animation is there from the beginning. So that's the animation for the start screen. Now if we Alt or Option click and type hotspot, we can create this hotspot for the tile, and we can resize it so that it covers the whole tile. Now we're going to add that tap or click interaction by clicking Add Interaction. Click Change or Navigate because we're going to navigate to a new screen in the project. Click Screen in Project, type in a name for the new screen. We're going to use Splash Screen here, and hit Create. This will create the new screen for you. Again, we need to resize this screen to 1366 by 768 to match our tablet form factor. And we're going to need to reposition this as well, spacebar again, and then change the background color to match our splash screen. If you remember, we had a title and some icons, so first thing we're going to do here is create the title. Again, that's Alt or Option click to do the quick create. Change the text color to white. We'll give this the title, RecipeLater. We're using the Open Sans font, but we're going to use a font size of 48 to make it nice and big. We can reposition this on the screen to its final location. Now we're going to create a couple icons. The first one that we're going to create is the cloud. And again, these are going to be white to match the text color. If we pick icon, we can search for cloud, and there's the cloud icon. And then we're just going to want to resize this so that it's slightly larger than the RecipeLater text. And then we can reposition that just to the left of that text. Just tweaking just a little bit to get it just right. And then once that's in place, we can go ahead and add our text icon. So again, change to the text icon. We're going to change it to white. And it's already the right size, so we just need to reposition it inside of the cloud and line everything up. Next thing we're going to do is just group everything together so we can animate it all at once. Get that positioned so that it's centered up in the screen. And we're going to run the prototype and see once again that we don't yet have that nice subtle animation that we want. It's just going to pop. So let's go ahead and do exactly what we did last time and add this transition for the group. We'll do it over a slightly larger time because we want to get that nice splash screen, everything's still kind of loading approach. If we come back over to our main screen, we now have everything hooked up exactly the way we saw it previously. So that will do it for this tutorial.
Thank you for watching this screencast. If you need to get a hold of me, I can be reached on Twitter at BrentSchooley. My blog is at bit.ly/IGBrent, and Indigo Studio is available from the link below.